everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Molly, and today, finally, after a long week of waiting, I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to Season 8, Episode 2 of Game of Thrones. Alright, so there was a lot set up with the last episode. If you didn't get a chance to watch my previous video from Episode 1 and you want to see my thoughts and comments on that, please do go back and watch. I have a pretty extended discussion at the end of the video. But I don't want to rehash that too much, mostly because I'm really just excited to watch the episode and I want to get into it as soon as possible. So I'm just really excited to see where they pick up with both the Jaime situation, his arrival at Winterfell, and then now that Jon knows the truth about who he is. So, alright, without any further waiting, let's start! Season 8, Episode 2, let's go!
Without him, my lady, you would not be alive. He armoured me, and sent me to find you and bring you home, because he'd sworn an oath to your mother.
You vouch for him?
I do.
You would fight beside him?
I would.
I trust you with my life. If you trust him with yours, we should let him stay.
I know death. He's got many faces. I look forward to seeing this one.
Well, he's impressed.
My way.
Didn't you tell them? You won't be able to help us in this fight if I let them murder you first.
What about afterwards?
How do you know there is an afterwards?
All my life I've known one goal. The Iron Throne. Taking it back from the people who destroyed my family and almost destroyed yours. My war was against them. Until I met Jon. Now I'm here, half a world away, fighting Jon's war alongside him. Tell me who manipulated whom.
I should have thanked you the moment you arrived. That was a mistake.
I'm here because I love your brother. And I trust him. And I know he's true to his word.
I want to fight for Winterfell, Lady Sansa. If you'll have me.
That was great.
Yumbas, fighting for the Night King now. We had to travel around them to get here. Whoever's not here now is with them. How long do we have? Before the sun comes up tomorrow.
Jon's like, what the fuck?
The big woman's still here. They're coming.
Torba!
Me. He's tried before, many times, with many three-eyed ravens.
Why? What does he want?
An endless night. He wants to erase this world, and I am its memory. And before his army destroys us all, I wait for him in the Godswood.
You want us to use you as bait?
We're not leaving you alone out there.
He won't be. I'll stay with him. With the Ironborn. I took this castle from you. Let me defend you now.
Theon's gonna die protecting Bran.
We'll hold off the rest of them
I
for as
mean,
long as we
it's
can.
kind of perfect, but it's
When
also
the time
gonna
comes,
be so
Savage and I
hard.
will be on the walls to give you the signal to light the trench.
My people are peaceful. We cannot protect ourselves.
My people are not peaceful. We will protect you.
Oh, I hope that they both actually survive.
I wish Father were here.
I would love to see the look on his face when he realizes his two sons are about to die defending Winterfell.
It would be something to see.
Why before that happened?
Whoa.
I think we might live. I do.
We don't believe
How
in
many
Tyrion.
battles have we survived between us? Sir Davos Seaworth.
Oh, come on.
I'm no king, but if I were, I'd knight you 10 times over. You don't need a king. Any knight can make another knight. I'll prove it.
Oh my god,
Kneel.
is this about to happen?
Lady Brienne. Do you want to be a knight or not?
Oh my god.
In the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the mother, I charge you to defend the innocent. Arise, Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Sir Brienne of Tarth, knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh my god. That was amazing.
The future of our house.
I don't need you to remind me of that.
You'll be safer. As she bled to death on her birthing bed, must give the boy to her brother, Ned Stark, to raise as his bastard. My name, my real name, is Aegon Targaryen.
That's impossible.
I wish you were. It's true, Dany. I know it is.
If it were true, it would make you the last male heir of House Targaryen.
I knew it was gonna end there. You know, We know that episode 3 is supposed to be the big Battle of Winterfell, entirely focused on the battle. You know, there's been a lot of publicity about it, talking about how it's the longest battle sequence ever filmed, even longer than Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings. So, yeah. So obviously, as this was the episode that was building up into it, then it was probably going to end right when it was about to begin. So, oh my god, so much happened in this episode too. Alright, so I guess there's a lot to talk about. So starting from the very beginning, I'm not surprised that it was Brienne that ended up, you know, vouching for Jaime. We knew that that was probably gonna happen, and I thought it was well done. I thought they did a good job with Sansa, like, kind of emotionally reacting when Brienne said those things about Jaime, you know, keeping his promise to Catelyn and that Sansa wouldn't be alive if that hadn't been the case. And so then she's kind of the one out of the group of leaders who says, all right, yes, he should stay, and then that gets everybody else on board. Although I'm sure Jon would have said yes anyway, because, like, that's all he cares about is protecting everyone and fighting the Night King. I felt pretty bad for Tyrion during that whole scenario and for everything that, you know, happened afterwards with him and Dany and their conversations. I do kind of wish that Dany had been more willing to think about the possible reasons that Jaime might have been right in killing her father and not come in kind of in that defensive mindset. But at the same time, I do think that she does have reason to be suspicious. You know, the thing she said, maybe you came here to kind of assassinate me or something, considering that Cersei betrayed them and Tyrion had vouched for Cersei, and now Tyrion's there trying to vouch for Jaime. I understand why she would be somewhat suspicious and standoffish. And so, I mean, I think overall that went pretty well. I think it was good how it resolved with Bran. You know, he gave a creepy little shout out to Jaime saying, I know what you did, I do remember, but he didn't come out and tell anyone. And then you had the conversation with him and Jaime, which I think went good. It went the way that I thought that it should. With Bran kind of saying, yeah, I know you're not the same person you were, and neither am I, and this is what was supposed to happen, and if you hadn't pushed me, you know, I wouldn't be where I am today in this position to help everybody, and you wouldn't be in this position that you're in to help everybody. So obviously he didn't fully explain things to Jaime, and I feel like most people don't really truly understand what Bran is, but I thought that was good. I thought that was a good little scene between the two of them. So I thought that they did a good job in setting everything up with Jaime's arrival. They paid a good amount of attention to it, which I'm glad that they did. This was largely a Jaime very focused episode, which was nice. Although I still think that Bran's thing of what makes you think there'll be something afterwards is heavily supporting the idea of Jaime dying, but like I said, I've always pretty much thought that he was one of the few big characters that was a definite goner in the series, so it's still gonna be sad when that happens. So the Jorah standing up for Tyrion was good, and I also like that he encouraged Dany to go try and, like, bridge whatever hostilities there were between her and Sansa. And everything seemed to be going really well with their conversation. You know, Sansa obviously is getting the sense and understanding that, hey, Dany actually loves Jon too. Maybe she's not manipulating him. And then she seemed to soften quite a bit when she seemed to have that moment of realization that, oh shit, she loves him too. But then, of course, there's still gotta throw in that little tension moment at the end of what happens after all this is done. But I really don't think that that's going to end up being an issue between them at all afterwards. I think that after everybody goes through this battle together, that a lot of the little hostilities that remain are going to pretty much be gone. At least that's what I am hoping for, and especially now that there's additional information thrown into the mix, now that Dany knows the truth about Jon, but we'll get to that. But I thought that the Sansa-Dany scene was really good. I thought that it did really strongly suggest that they could have a very positive relationship overall, and that would make sense because of the things that they've both been through and the kind of people that they are, that they would actually get along if they lowered their guards a little bit. And then the Theon returning scene, that was that was something. I was getting all teary-eyed. Sansa, she was so moved by the fact that he came back and said he wanted to defend Winterfell and their family, and I thought that was beautiful. And then they showed the two of them spending time together later before everything happened, so that made me really happy. And then when you have the War Council, Theon volunteers to take his men and be the ones that guard Bran as Bran is setting up for this little trap situation. So again, I'm pretty sure that Theon is gonna die at Winterfell, and that's gonna be really sad to watch. But if his death comes in defending Bran, then I think that, you know, that brings his story kind of full circle in a way, and that'll be good. So that'll at least be a good death for him, I'm hoping. But I definitely feel like that's gonna happen. I also think it's interesting that they're planning to kind of have, I guess, the dragons circling around near the Godswood in the hopes that if the Night King is coming to attack Bran, that they can kind of, I don't know, swoop in and attack him. But I wonder if the Night King is even going to be here with Viserion. I personally feel like he's not. Like, that maybe is going to be the big surprise here, because it's going to spoil all of their plans. If their plan is to target the Night King with the hope that that will save them all, and then the Night King just doesn't even bother to show up, he just takes Viserion and goes elsewhere and lets all of his lieutenant White Walkers lead this battle against Winterfell, well, that's really going to screw him, isn't it? It'll make it much more less likely that they can actually do anything to stop this invading army. But at the same time, it'll mean that we don't have any major dragon battle over this fight, which I don't think we're going to have, because I think that that's coming later, near King's Landing. So, also, but I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong. He could be there, but I guess we'll see. I kind of have a feeling, though, that he's not, and that's one of the reasons that they're going to end up probably getting overrun here at Winterfell. Maybe, you know, if they kill the other White Walkers, that some of their undead that follow them will fall. We saw that happen before. But if a lot of them were turned by the Night King and he's not there, well, then that is not going to happen. So I also think there's a pretty strong chance of Jorah ending up dying in this battle. I really liked the scene with him and Sam giving him Heartsbane. That was a theory that people had, and it's proved to be correct, and I think it was a nice touch, but I really don't think that Jorah's making it out of this battle. If I had to guess, Theon and Jorah are definitely two of the big people that are not gonna make it out of this episode, in my opinion. But so just a couple other major things that I want to talk about. The big stuff for me this episode was Jaime and Brienne. But before I get to that, just quickly, of course, we also have Arya and Gendry, so yeah, I'm glad that that happened. I'm glad that they actually, you know, brought it through. I wasn't sure if we were gonna end up getting that until we saw their other interaction in the last episode, and then I was pretty sure that they were going in that direction. I know a lot of us had hoped that eventually that would happen, but then there was a lot of uncertainty of, well, are they even going to bother doing that with Arya's character, kind of the way that she's turned away from people a lot, but she seems to be showing a lot more of her human side this season so far. I'm glad. And so that happened. And it was nice. And her little interaction with the Hound was good too. So I appreciated that they gave her those moments. And so yeah, so the Brienne and Jaime stuff. First of all of the scenes with all of them drinking and talking, Tyrion, I think we're gonna survive. I think we'll live. We'll win. And everyone's just laughing. It's nice. I like that they're having these little moments with everyone. I liked when they did this sort of thing too in the lead up to other battles. I think it really kind of highlights everything, the tension, and gets you more emotionally invested. And the way that they all led up to Jaime knighting Brienne, honestly, might be one of my favorite moments in the entire series. I'm not kidding. I think that that was one of the best moments in this series. That everything with both of their characters, I feel like, led up to that particular moment in like a perfect way. And then you have everyone else there standing and clapping for Brienne, knowing the kind of weight that this moment holds, honestly, for both of them, for Brienne and Jaime. So I thought it was beautifully filmed. I thought it had the right amount of emotional resonance, and like I said, not just my favorite scene in the episode or the season so far, but one of my favorite moments in the entire series. I thought it was that good. But Jaime's definitely gonna die this season. And so, alright, so then that brings us to Jon and Dany, and Jon telling Dany the truth. Again, kind of also like the situation with Jon and Sam, when Sam tells him the truth. I feel like they could have maybe tried to provide a little more detail and context. But overall, they did a pretty good job with it. Her reaction of kind of being shocked and not believing it at first does make sense. Her saying, well, this means that you're the male Targaryen heir and you have a claim on the throne, makes sense, but she's not necessarily approaching it hostilely. And I gotta say, I'm not looking forward to a lot of the speculation the next couple weeks from people saying that this is just gonna be Jon and Dany against each other at the end, and Dany's gonna go power crazy and be willing to, like, kill Jon or fight for the throne. I 100% don't think that's the way it's gonna go. If anything, I think that after this battle, because she's probably gonna lose Jorah and maybe even some other people she cares about, and Jon will be in danger, there will be a lot of, you know, bad stuff happening and loss, that she's just gonna be even more aware of how much people that she loves matter to her more than, say, titles. And we also know that Jon doesn't give a shit about whether or not he should be king or sitting on the Iron Throne. So I really don't see them having a conflict over that in the end if they both manage to survive. Especially because they're gonna lose a lot of people they love in terrible ways, and we know that they love each other. They definitely do. And you know, as I think Dany's talk with Sansa kind of is gonna lead into this somewhat, but I also think that the fact that they had Jenny's song there, Pod singing it, and then they also showed it during the credits, is maybe a pretty big hint of what's gonna come. And I hope that this is the case. And I'm gonna be really happy if it is the case, honestly. And so I'm kind of getting on board with the idea that if Jon and Dany both survive the season, that neither one of them is gonna take the Iron Throne. That kind of like Jenny walking away, that situation, the story of someone walking away from power for the person that they love, that maybe Jon and Dany are gonna just together both say, I don't want the throne, and walk away together. And especially if Dany's pregnant, I feel like I can really see that happening. And then maybe we'll get something else, like some sort of council set up, as opposed to like a typical king or queen sitting on the Iron Throne. And I could see an ending like that happening. And I feel like there's been a good amount of hints leading up to it, even with last episode where Dany and Jon are saying, you know, we could stay here forever and go away from all of it, and also with Missandei and Grey Worm talking about doing that very thing, getting away from everything and just going and being together and being happy. I think that could also be like a foreshadowing hint that that's what Jon and Dany are gonna do too. I mean, I say two because I hope Missandei and Grey Worm both live and they get a chance to do that, but yeah, so if Jon and Dany both live, which is a big if, you know, either one of them could easily die, or both of them, before this is over. But if they do manage to both live, I wouldn't be surprised if they walk away together. And then either someone else entirely sits on the Iron Throne, or they have some sort of, like, council set up with whichever remaining heads of houses are alive at the end of the show. So that's what I'm guessing. And again, I'm not looking forward to the next couple weeks if people are gonna be like saying that they think that Dany's gonna kill Jon and everything. I 100%, or that she's gonna go against him, because I 100% believe that she completely loves Jon and that there's not gonna be a conflict between them. I think next episode is gonna be totally about the battle. The episode after that everyone will have to deal with whatever is left in the aftermath of that. And that, if anything, that's going to be the time when Dany and Jon have to talk and process this information. But again, I feel like they're going to have lost a lot, and that's going to have an impact on how they feel in the aftermath. But I guess we'll see. So, again, great episode with one of the best scenes in the entire series with Jaime knighting Brienne. So, Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today. I'm gonna go back and watch the episode again after I get this edited and posted. So I'll just say thank you very much for joining me today, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye.